The following is a special presentation of ABC Sports.
It's tough to deny that some of the best college basketball is played on North Carolina's Tobacco Road. There is the great North Carolina State rivalry that has been played every year since 1918. Or the clash between the last two national champions. But recently, the most intriguing matchup may be between Wake Forest and Duke. Dave Odom has won 4 of the last 7 meetings against Mike Krzyzewski, including 2 in a row at Cameron. Earlier this season, the Randolph-Childress Grant Hill show took center stage. Hill and the Blue Devils needed a win to take over #1 in the nation, but Childress spoiled Hill's chance to lead Duke back to the top. Childress' three-pointer with 11 seconds left gave Wake Forest an unbelievable 69-68 victory over then unbeaten Duke at the Cameron. This time we're in Winston-Salem. The rematch is next. College basketball on ABC comes to the land of the Deacons. It's the Coliseum, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Duke was ranked #2 last week. They could jump to #1, but remember, Wake Forest has already beaten Duke once this year. Good afternoon and welcome everybody with Dick Vitale. I'm Brent Musburger. Nice to be with you this afternoon. Anything can and does happen in the ACC. Yesterday it was Georgia Tech sweeping North Carolina, winning at Chapel Hill. Now today, can Wake Forest sweep Duke? Take a look at the standings. Duke with a win today would stay 1 full game up on the Tar Heels. Wake Forest right on track for a 4th consecutive appearance in the NCAA tournament. Mr. Vitale, we saw some shooters yesterday, but I'm here to tell you, I think Randolph-Childress of Wake Forest is the best three-point shooter I've seen this year.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Brent. If they're going to have a shot today, we're going to have to see the trifecta like Georgia Tech utilized against North Carolina. Childress is a big-time, streaky shooter, very capable of having the big day. He's a prolific scorer. And you look at Wake Forest, whenever they have success, Randolph-Childress has to be big. He can score with the leading jump shot, and he can step deep. He's got NBA range. We take a look right now. There's the kick out. And there it is, NBA, nothing but nylon. Childress will have to be a PTP, prime-time performer today if they're going to beat the Dukies 2 times.
Speaking of the Dukies, folks, Grant Hill has had a great career. That's a great senior class. But with Bobby Hurley out, are they asking him to do too much, Dick?
Hey, Grant, I'll tell you something. I mean, Brent, when you talk about Grant Hill, the most versatile player in America, he has the complete package. Grant Hill can drive to the basket. He can step out and knock down the perimeter jump shot. He's an outstanding defensive player. We've watched him improve his range with the three-point shot. But I think he's the most unselfish star player that I have seen in all my years on television. I would like to see him get a little bit selfish.
All right, coming up, will we see the unselfish or the selfish Grant Hill? The Deacons go for the sweep. It's next.
This ABC Sports Raycon presentation brought to you by Pizza Hut, who reminds you that anytime's a great time to stop and smell the pizza. Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. State Farm Insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And the Die Hard battery, now with more power when you need it most.
Duke with an overall record of 17-2 against Wake Forest, which stands at 15-7 on the year. Mike Krzyzewski celebrating his 47th birthday. A happy occasion? Well, he's lost twice on his birthday to Wake Forest. And Dave Odom is putting together one of the finest coaching records ever at Wake Forest. He has taken them to 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments for 7 years. This man was an assistant under Terry Holland at Virginia. And again, he is right on track, as we said, to go to the 4th straight NCAA tournament. Grant Hill figures to be the leader, as Dick told you in our opening today, averaging better than 17 points an outing. This 6'8" senior from Reston, Virginia. And there's the man who's spelled doom for the Blue Devils the last time out, and he lit up Florida State the other night with 30-plus. Randolph Childress. Wake and its home whites, and Duke going to the goal on your right, and it's dark traveling uniforms, and we get underway. Capel, who has moved into that starting lineup. Parks is out high for the Blue Devils. Toya Lang had a couple of days off, then they returned to practice Friday and Saturday. Here's Capel off the wheel.
Lang's one of the most improved players in the ACC. He's become a big-time scorer on that baseline and an excellent athlete, Brent.
So a feeling out process on their first trip. Now the shot clock down to 5, and Grant Hill and Capel will go to work, and Capel will take the 3. It's off. Rebound, Wake Forest, something they have to do today. Here's Childress now, and Hill picks him up early.
Can create his own shots, got good one-on-one ability.
He turned it over. Tim Duncan, the freshman from St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, an American citizen. He has come out of nowhere to be one of the freshman impact players in the ACC and the nation.
He's a real diaper dandy, great shot blocker, averaging 3 block shots a game in that lane. And you're right, he was an unknown. They found him in St. Croix.
This is Lang, number 21, outside up over Lawns for the first field goal of the game.
Lang has really worked on his range as a shooter.
Now there are 3 guards on the floor. Dick, for Wake Forest, they made that adjustment some time ago, and it seems to be successful. But one of the big men, Trelawney Owens, couldn't tie it, and Hill with the rebound.
Who plays that typical man-to-man defense? I love this guy, Cherokee Parks. He's going to want the ball a little bit more on the inside.
Knocked away that time by Childress, brings it down on the turnover. Numbers advantage Wake. It's through the corner. They'll go for the 3. Harrison got the bounce. It's only a 2. He was on the line. So Charlie Harrison, the transfer from Georgetown, with the 2, evens it up.
He's a streaky shooter. He's up and down the way he shoots the basketball, Harrison, but a tough defensive player, very quick on the perimeter.
Now let's see what Hill can do one-on-one. Comes up over his shorter defender and nails the field goal.
Big-time player. He can push the inside. He can play on the outside. I just love him. He's got the complete package, multi-dimensional.
And they're sending him out one-on-one against Childress here in the early going. He's picking him up high, taking away shooting room. So they're going to need screens and picks to get Childress open against this tough Duke man-to-man defense.
Well, you know, Grant Hill last year was voted the defensive player of the year.
And he runs down the rebound off the Owens miss. Owens a little bit short on his jumper so far here in the early going. Duke taking the crowd out in the early minutes. Collins on the go. Not there. Owens defensive rebound.
Not a good shot by Chris right there in their offense. Got to make the extra pass and get a better shot.
Childress thought about it. Hill was there, passed it up, and so they worked the baseline with Harrison coming down. And this is Blucas playing catch now.
Trelawney Owens has really improved his game as well. Last year, averaged 11 points a game, but defenses are focusing on him a little bit more. Wake Forest trying to control tempo, playing with control.
Hill was using the sideline, comes up with the steal, as was Cherokee Parks down low, who batted it away. The Duke defense is impressive here in the early going.
Well, that's been a real trademark of Mike Krzyzewski basketball, consistent defense.
Back to Parks, who muscles for the deuce.
I'll tell you, he's really become a solid low-post player. He's got excellent touch. He just has to want the ball a little bit more. He's got to be a little bit more active.
This is going to be some tough goal for Childress. They double him up. They've got a numbers advantage if they move fast.
They're using the big guys, you said earlier, Grant Hill matching up. I mean, Hill's being asked to do it all except, hey, I wonder if he bought a birthday cake for his coach.
It'll be a question of stamina with both of them. They're going to harass Childress all the way. That's the obvious strategy.
Here's Parks down inside against Duncan, the freshman, the diaper dandy. Can't get a piece of it. Parks sealed him off really well.
Now Duncan. Off the switch. Childress had Capel on him. Got inside. Field goal. Would have counted if it had gone, but he'll come up to the line.
He had 33 against Florida State. The Seminoles, I really think after yesterday, 3 teams in the ACC are bye-bye now as far as the NCAA tournament. I think Clemson is out of it, played themselves out of it. Also Florida State, and we know North Carolina State's gone. Davey Odom wants to really avoid going under 500. They're 5-4, and they have Duke and Carolina at home.
This Childress clanging one on his first free throw attempt.
This has been a good free throw shooting team here at Wake Forest this year also.
74% as a team lead the ACC, as opposed to yesterday we had North Carolina only shooting 64% as a team. There's the diaper dandy Capel in the backcourt. His dad's the coach at North Carolina A&T.
They find the open man, and Hill rattles in his second field goal.
I think we have a big game out of Hill today, both on the offensive end and defensive end. He looks really prime, number 33.
Childress did it with the dribble. Hill chasing.
They got to lay some screens for him. Somebody's got to put a screen up there to get him free for a shot. Oh, there it comes. But he goes the other way.
And it's Harrison off the glass, and Duke's defense dominating here in the early going.
Giving a lot of help to one another, closing off driving angles.
Lucas picks up Hill.
I always tease Grant. I was teasing him in the lobby yesterday. I said, you're too unselfish. You got to look for a little bit more offense.
Alex misses. I'm sure Krzyzewski appreciated that.
They play so within the team concept, Grant, but a little bit too much. I think even Mike would like to see him assert himself more offensively.
All right, the one player for Wake Forest who's got to get involved in this is 6'10" Tim Duncan. He outplayed Cherokee Parks in that opening game, and he's been shut down on the inside right now. They've denied him the ball.
A little inside, outside. He can shoot it. He's your typical blue-collar worker coaches always talk about. He hit a big three in that first game with 4 minutes left that kept Wake Forest in the game.
So the Deacons again use that three-point to their advantage to build a lead. So with Duke's offensive team, not what it has been in the past. Defense, they're scratching and clawing away. Lang fouled by Owens, and he'll come up to the free throw line for a pair. Checking in now, Marty Clark is off the bench. Capel sits down. And Eric Meek also checking in for Duke, and Collins sits down. So Mike Krzyzewski makes 2 substitution moves with Lang at the free throw line.
Hey, Brent, they've been getting great play off the bench, off Marty Clark and Eric Meek. They both have been giving us solid performances. Clark has become a real solid scorer coming off that bench.
Travis Banks, the first sub for Wake Forest, and sitting down is Charlie Harrison.
Banks, an athlete, runner, jumper, very quick, can be sensational.
So we'll take a break. 14:41 to go, and Duke with a 4-point advantage over Wake Forest.
Or Arizona battles Cal. It's game 2 of our Pizza Hut College basketball doubleheader next on ABC.
First game of our doubleheader here today on ABC. ACC matchup, and Duke, the conference leader, and could be headed for #1. We'll see how it turns out today. And in the early going, check out the Blue Devil defense here.
Oh, it's shutting them down. 2 for 5, 40%. And right now, really concentrating and focusing on Randolph Childress. Grant Hill, who was the recipient of the Hank Ivor Award as the premier defensive player in the land. There's some guys that really question that. Derek Phelps says, how did he get the best defensive player award over me?
Childress squeezed the trigger 15 times in their first meeting over at the Cameron, but Tim Duncan inside was 3 of 4, and Cherokee Parks was 2 of 10. Duncan has not even seen the basketball yet.
They changed their defense. Duke's playing like a little gimmick. Look at Grant Hill. He's zoning up on top. They're playing a little gimmick defense.
So they're trying to keep him guessing. He'll get inside Clark. Childress should now go across to Lucas, who's open for the 3.
I don't like those gimmick defenses. I think when you're a solid club like Duke with man-to-man defense, you don't allow the open 3. Good call by Davey Odom getting the ball over to Lucas.
Great court recognition. Well-coached team picks things up like that. They're down to Meek. Out there, loose, taken down by Lucas, and a foul against Duke.
Lucas, a very emotional player. In your 3-guard concept, Harrison, Lucas, and Childress, you have a chance to win. Mike was telling us before the game, you and I were in a locker room, and he had that concerned look on his eye, but basically he told us anytime you have good guard play, you got a chance to win, and I agree with that in college basketball. There's a back screen from Lucas. The screen is usually the most dangerous guy on the floor. People relax after the guy lays a screen. See, there was a screen on Hill. Good recovery, though. You got to like a guy, Brent, that has prided himself like Hill, both playing defense and offense.
Loose Duke. One in, out on the miss by Banks. Down comes Hill. Cross, Lang on the move. Couldn't get the handle quickly. He was the top against Duke again.
Grant Hill was really looking for Marty Clark for the three, and Lang stepped in and made the little interception. Hey, talk about great stock. Grant Hill, Dad, Calvin Hill, Yale. Dad, All-American, super player in the NFL with the Dallas Cowboys. And his mom went to Wellesley, as we look at the dad, and the mom roomed with Hillary Clinton. There's that passing game, dumped down to the post.
Shoulders off the bounce pass. Wake Forest not able to convert anything down on the inside. It's interesting that that's not where their strength is. They lit up Florida State from that three-point line, and now down come the Devils.
Double stack. They run a little what we call a double power game. A stack and they'll interchange on the baseline. They isolate Grant Hill, a little one.
Lang, good if it goes.
Nice curl move. Those are the little things that Grant Hill does, the recognition to the open man. That's why he's an All-American, Brent. He doesn't put on the big points on a board, but he does all the little things that coaches really love a player to do. And most of all, he knows how to win.
Lang breaks quickly, and of course, as Duke fans know, he's been a little bit tender. And a couple days off this week certainly helps him, and he's scored 7 already here in the early going.
Well, after they beat Georgia Tech and that come from behind win, Mike gave them off for 2 days and then began preparations on Friday. As we look at his knee, he's had some ankle problems as well. Valedictorian of his class coming out of Mobile, Alabama, 4.0. Wow.
Collins returns. Trelawney Owens trying to give an inside game. Block shot. There's Duncan on the putback. That's when he's got to contribute. Offensive rebound and a score for the freshman. His first field goal of the game. Wake Forest within 2.
They got to get a performance out of Owens and Duncan inside.
Strange for Duke to bring it down that quickly and pull the trigger as they did there. And Lucas comes back, and now Wake Forest can take the lead with a 3.
Trelawney Owens being checked by Parks. He can step out a little bit, Owens.
Open man underneath. Pass was too high and out of bounds on the turnover. We'll take a break. 3 turnovers here. It's a 13-11, a 2-point lead for Duke.
UCLA invades Arizona, or Georgia battles LSU. It's Pizza Hut College basketball Saturday on ABC.
Hey, Brent, Trelawney Owens is going to get the double team. Now watch him work on the inside. Number 40 is the head fake. But here's the guy that's going to come over. Your guy, Duncan from St. Croix. There he is. He kisses it on the glass. What a find. They found out about him through a guy by the name of Chris King, who used to play here. Went on a trip, as we look at the rebound totals right here. They went on a trip to play over in St. Croix. Came back, called up David Odom, said, hey, there's a big guy. Nobody knows about him. He goes to see him play. He's playing outdoor at the playground, says, you got a scholarship, son.
Hill pulls the trigger off a quick weave. And
I love him.
One in. He's a fine player.
I love him. I absolutely love this guy. Jalen Rose always teases me. He said, you're always singing the praises of Grant Hill. Jalen's having a great year. Just the versatility from Michigan.
Owens hasn't found his jump shot yet.
Look who rebounded. Look who's handling the ball. Did he sell any tickets yet? I mean, did he sell any popcorn? He's not done. He's done it all. Grant Hill.
Clark. That's a 3.
Davey Odom, very reserved on that sideline. There's Clark with the big 3. Had 17 in that win over Georgia Tech when he came from behind in their last game.
Childress hits his first.
That's a long-range J, baby. He shot that down from downtown Winston-Salem.
For those of you who may not have seen him, he has as good a stroke as anybody in the country from outside that three-point line. And he'll back it up to that NBA distance, too.
He was 6 for 9 from three-point range in his last game against Florida State. He scored 33.
Lucas down on the inside, call for the personal.
Lucas from out of Pennsylvania. Bobby Sura and him used to go head-to-head in high school. I know you like Bob Sura. You were telling me today you love his toughness.
Yeah, I think he's creates his own shot. They have an abundance of good guards, I find, at Florida State, and that they really struggle down on the blocks.
Yeah, he really lost so much, though, to graduation. Losing guys like Douglas Edwards, losing Rocky moves into a slide inside.
Meek has one put back. So Collins takes it. And that's a three.
Just like his dad, Doug Collins. Doug was so explosive when he played at Illinois State, played on the Olympic team, NBA star, now a fine analyst. Gotta rotate. He's capable of playing on the perimeter. So he's going east and west. You gotta penetrate. You gotta penetrate with the basketball. You can't go east-west. You gotta go north-south.
Childress with a neat fake, gets it in, back to Banks. Foul is called on the shot.
Childress like a little quarterback, the way he handed that off, just like a QB. Banks has that good athletic ability, Brad.
Randolph Childress could play for a long time in the NBA if he learns how to penetrate with that outside range that he's got, and he can step off that against a man-to-man defense. He'd be big-time trouble for a long time.
Yeah, Mike Krzyzewski told us before the game as he was talking with one of his former players, Brian Davis, who's here. He said, heck, he said, I think Childress can make a solid NBA player.
He's got the quickness. Remember Mark Price, of course, Dick, who went from Georgia Tech and has done so well. Did you see what he performed yesterday at the three-point line?
Let's look at Brian Davis with that white sweater. Sitting there, he was telling us all about Isaiah Ryder. Told me all about Ryder, who won the Slam Jam. Yeah, Price was sensational. Dallas Mavericks let him go, Mark Price. They had him as a second rounder. Let him go out there to Cleveland, where he's been super under Mike Fratello and previously Lenny Wilkins.
So Clark to the right baseline. Got the roll.
I'll tell you, what confidence is he playing with? I mean, Marty Clark had 17 big wins in that win against Georgia Tech.
Duke building a little cushion now. Lucas will try to draw closer with his second three.
Here's the three-point shot. Was that big yesterday? The trifecta is starting to dominate college basketball. Freddie Vincent, what a show on. He put on 8. Put down 8 against North Carolina. Georgia Tech.
Hill.
Look at Wake Forest. 4 for 4 from three-point range. I'd like to see him move that line back, Brent.
Reminder tonight after America's Funniest Hour. Valentine's Day comes a day early. Will You Marry Me? Then Ted Danson and Tom Selleck. 3 men and a little lady tonight on ABC.
Hey, we gotta say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody out there. Don't forget those cards and those roses.
Always thought better of it. He really hasn't found his jump shot yet today, has he?
But they're not forcing shots. They're playing with some poise in their half-court set.
Harrison. Going one-on-one, draws the foul from Collins, who was playing pretty good defense on him. The foul is called by Dick Papero, who's working with Rick Hartzell and John Moreau here today. They're the three officials, and there's...
Let's look at Papero. He gets more AT than David Letterman. I was teasing him before. And I asked him one time, I said, who's the best ref in the business? He said, it starts with me and everybody else is number 2. Dick Papero, a real linguini man. I really thought this guy was going to become a star when he transferred here. He's been in and out as a shooter, Harrison. He's coming from Georgetown. Lucas was solid, and the Deacon fans love him. They greeted you with a lot of warmth today, chanting that name, Brent.
They were looking for you, and I just happened to step out early. They wanted your autograph, Coach, on that new book he was. Now Clark brings it back down for the Blue Devils here. We've got 8.5 minutes to go in the first half. Duke has led all the way, but Wake Forest hanging in the neighborhood. And remember, they've got the scores. Now in Parks, muscling low into the hands of Duncan. And here comes Wake now with a chance to tie it or take the lead. Whips it back to the corner, traveled on the pass, turn it over.
Duncan did a solid job defensively down against Parks. He didn't let Parks get that good angle. Davey Odom, as you said earlier, going for his 4th consecutive NCAA berth. Let's look at Duncan, St. Croix. So great to find these guys that are Rip Van Winkles, that are sleepers.
Harrison comes to pick up Collins at the midcourt line.
He's very quick defensively, Harrison. Nobody switched.
Grant.
Oh, hello! Are you serious? That is unbelievable, baby. Grant Hill. What a superstar. Wow, Brent. He exploded. He exploded.
Did you like that one, Dick?
Oh, I can't believe it. I mean, that was incredible. I want to see it again and again.
Here's Duncan. Left baseline. Turnaround jump shot. Counts as much as that slam dunk.
You know, I think that Grant Hill, if he really turned it on, he could just dominate a game.
Here's Clark, picked up by Childress, almost lost it. Back to Cherokee Parks, and he traveled. Turn it over. They're going to call him on that. Out of control. They're going to call a personal offensive foul against Parks.
Watch this slam. I mean, he explodes from the foul line, Brent. Look at this. I mean, he just glides and hangs. Good night.
Duke leads by 2, but Cherokee continues to have trouble with Tim Duncan. He is 3 for his last 14 in a game plus now. Today he is only 1 of 4. Remember, he was 2 of 10 back over on Duke's floor. So that's a matchup to watch. Now at the other end, Owens is struggling for Wake Forest. He's 0 of 4, and Cherokee picks him up down here.
They're trying to get Owens the ball now inside. He's trying to sit in a box. Good look.
Got in behind him beautifully, didn't he?
That was a great post move. He was sitting down low, and that's what they were trying to do. Get the ball inside to Owens. Perfect execution. Good offensive efficiency.
Now look at Duncan. Keep his body out on Cherokee. Look at the position he gets down on the low block.
I'll tell you one thing, Lucas is working so hard trying to deny the ball to Grant Hill and created the turnover. But they get a little push by Hill.
Dick, you know what's underrated in this game? Wake Forest defense.
They're doing a solid job. They're really giving a lot of help. Davey Odom was an excellent teacher when he worked with Terry Holland for 7 years in Virginia, where they had some solid throws. They're
going to be shooting up here 1-1. We've got just under 7 minutes to go right now. We're deadlocked at 25, and this Wake Forest team is interesting. They trail, but they stay close where they can get these scores either at the free throw line or a three-point attempt. This is an interesting basketball team.
Well, I'll tell you something about the ACC. I think it's the premier conference in America for basketball, for environment, for competitiveness, from top to bottom. I mean, every time you lace them up, you have to play at a real special level. The Big Ten is right there, but I don't think the Big Ten has a heavyweight team like you have in the ACC.
I think the ACC coaching from top to bottom is the best in America, and I think overall that's been the difference with this conference. That is the first lead of the day for Wake Forest. Talking about coaching. There's one of the greats right now, Mike Krzyzewski.
He gets flat-out coach. Just a great coach and a super humanitarian as well.
They pounce it in, and Duncan was on him too tight that time.
Tim Duncan, I mean, last year he's playing at St. Croix in high school, and now he's lining up against the likes of Cherokee Parks.
Dick, that is, usually you can get a youngster, a sleeper like you've talked about. An interesting story. He can do it offensively, but defensively, he's so outstanding. That's very rare for a find like him.
He's got excellent timing and blocking shots.
Look at him chase Parks down on that block now. Look at those two big men go, and then they get double-team help from Owens. They get the turnover. They got a numbers advantage. Here's Harrison. Hits Childress, snaps it off. He felt pressure. Lucas is 2. What a beautiful pass by Childress. He could have taken the 3, but he felt the heat.
What an unselfish play. Good ball reversal, and he swings the ball. Lucas has really been hot.
I want to tell you, that young man down in the low blocks is doing a job on Cherokee Parks, and that's allowing him at the perimeter to go one-on-one.
He really is playing him tough. He's trying to deny, but he's getting a lot of help also from Trelawney Owens. I thought that was a great play by Childress, as you mentioned. I mean, so unselfish. And the Demon Deacon fans with their yellow pom-poms going absolute bananas.
Capel works out on top with Clark now. Now it's Hill. He'll go for it. Put it down and bring him to the line. When you need a hoop, is there anyone better to go to than number 33?
That's why he's a flat-out superstar. Guys that rise when the club needs that big basket. Made my all-Rolls-Royce team along with Jason Kidd, who we'll see next week. I can't wait to see Kidd. You talk about a dominator. Clint Robinson, Danielle Marshall, and I got Eric Montross in the middle.
Hey, that's a February Final Four, Coach. Temple Louisville's not a bad matchup down there.
Wow. That's going to be great down at Disney World.
Temple's 11 now for your man Grant Hill here in the first half, and we've got just under 6 minutes to go.
Temple's got a big matchup coming up after this game right here in ABC against Massachusetts and John Calipari's super team. There's Grant Hill trying to get up on Childress.
Goes the other way. They call a 5-second violation. Now remember, if you hold the ball and don't dribble it, they can call the 5-second violation. We saw a final in for the Big Ten on our screen. That's why they turned it over. I know a lot of folks think that they did away with the 5-second violation, but they did not. So Michigan with a 2-point win today. One of your final 4 picks yesterday.
They're going to win the Big Ten. I mean, they're, to me, a lock to win the Big Ten. They got so many great road wins.
And to you-know-who, number 33, Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside.
He told me before the game, I got a lot to show you today offensively, and I'll tell you, he is showing me because I like to tease him all the time.
We're going to need him offensively. Childress now, he's got Hill working at the offensive end. He had a switch out here with Lang on him, and it would be possible now if Hill's going to work that hard offensively that Childress can come down here and get himself some breathing room for the threes.
They got to lay some screens for him. I think you use that high post screen, put a body like Trelawney Owens up high, and let Childress come off that screen. Marty clock switches to him.
Yeah, really switched on him. Bounce pass is beautiful, and Childress goes on the drive.
I love the art of moving without the basketball. That was like poetry in motion. Childress makes that little backdoor cut. He catches the defensive player, Clark, staring at the basketball.
Deacons up by 1. We got another good one brewing here. This one in Winston-Salem. Yesterday it was Georgia Tech hanging tough and then pulling it out in the second half, upsetting Carolina. Now Duke with a chance to be number 1, and they're in a dogfight.
And the Deacons rotate out of the man-to-man into a 2-3 zone. Gaps, wings are wide open against a 2-3.
Clark did not get the bounce up on the rim. Basket interference goes on over now to Wake Forest here at the 4:18 mark of the first half.
Cherokee Park's getting a little frustrated, really struggling on the interior. Got a date coming up Wednesday. They have Virginia. I'll be down here with the Cameron Crazies.
I'm going to tell you, Dick, if that freshman continues to improve, this could be some tough team in the tournament when you got outside shooters and an inside defensive presence like Duncan. He's all alone, and Owens couldn't find him. He's standing there for a layup.
I mean, layup, Dunksville.
He turns it over again.
They're wide open. He missed them. Wide open.
Owens has got to pick him up on the recognition.
Got to spot that open man.
So we've got a break here. The Demon Deacons lead it by 1. 4 minutes, first half. Winston-Salem.
Hi, I'm Kenny Lofton of the Cleveland Indians, and up at halftime is Foot Like a Slam Fest, 1994. Yo-yo.
This ABC Sports Raycom presentation is brought to you by Pizza Hut, who reminds you that anytime's a great time to stop and smell the pizza. Miller Lite, great taste, less filling. Can your beer do this? Volvo. Volvo would like you to drive safely. And Ban for Men, the clear antiperspirant that keeps a man feeling clean and fresh.
Wake Forest is number 40, averaging 16 points a game, has really come up short in the first half offensively. Now right here, look at this right, freeze it. Look at Duncan. See, Duncan's right behind Lang. Number 40, front of lob, he's got it done. He doesn't give it to him, Brent. He doesn't give it to him. Oh, wow, look at Duncan pleaded for it, number 21. 6'11", he would have jammed that. Oh, they get a turnover out of a short deuce.
He just looked over at you like, what am I going to do? I was asking for it. 3:55 to go down in the first half.
Changing defenses, out of the timeout, going to the zone, coming out of the man-to-man.
Lucas, a fine talent for Dave Odom. 1-point lead here for Wake Forest. Trying to do what Georgia Tech did this year to Carolina, and that's what some teams just seem to match up well against other teams, don't they?
They really do. Certain teams believe they can win. The game is so mental. You have to have a feeling. They feel Wake Forest after beating them 4 of the last 6 times.
I want to tell you, he's going to have a monster. You called that one right. That's 16 points on the 3 for Mr. Grant Hill. He's the chairman of this Blue Devil team, no question about it. They're going to go as far as he can carry it.
I think that Hill and Jalen Rose are the 2 most versatile players in the game. They can play 3 positions, and they like to play defense as well. Look at them digging in. Good stance defensively. Got to be impressed that Childress is not forcing shots.
Out of bounds. Good defense that time, and it'll be Blue Devil ball.
I'm a little surprised that the crowd is as quiet as it is. Maybe it's a Sunday. Everybody just came out of church and a little quiet because they're kind of quiet. Look at this Parks right here. Turnovers, points off the turnovers. 4 for Parks out of the 6. They're doing a job inside when he touches the ball, doubling him up.
Deacons have committed only 5 fouls here in the first half.
Nice look. He's such an outstanding passer.
Off to the left.
He called out right away. This Collins had some big nights. Knocked down that 3. Gets all those good looks from his mom.
I think we got a little slam fest. Ricky Prohl. He's a Demon Deacon. He'll take on Kenny Lofton of the Cleveland Indians. So Prohl, the wide receiver for the Phoenix Cardinals, he knows all about it. He's probably watching this game. He'll be coming up at halftime on the Foot Locker Slam Fest. Good go and a great block underneath by Antonio Lang.
They cleared out, ran in isolation, little one-on-one move, and then Lang with a great shot. Oh, they missed Lang.
He wanted it offensively on Owens. You bet he did. He had his post set up, and they didn't fire it. And now Bill pulls it out at the 2-minute mark.
The art of getting the ball into a post is really something that doesn't exist.
Capel, offensive rebound. Wade got a little lazy that time.
Look at the poise. He likes handling the rock. He's going to be such an outstanding perimeter player at the NBA level. Doesn't 4 shots. Only averages 12 shots a game.
Marty Clark checks in.
See, I think Grant Hill's got to shoot at least 17, 18 times a game. Here comes Marty Clark. Now watch Lang, a little isolation. He beats Hill. I mean, he strips him. And Hill says, come on over, Antonio. Antonio with the rejection and a great angle for that block shot.
Grant Hill here in the first half. 7 of 9 as we approach the 1.5-minute mark left here. And Hill now 7 of 10. And another opportunity. Duke dominating the offensive glass right now. Wade can't continue to give up offensive rebounds like that because they'll never pull it out at the end.
That means you're playing aggressive basketball. When you're on the offensive glass and you're blocking shots, forcing turnovers, that means you're playing aggressively.
Gave him just too many opportunities, and that time Lang burns him. He has scored 9 here in the first half.
Nice 2-man combination. Hill into Lang. Cherokee Park stepping out. Trying to contain, control number 22. Cherokee trying to control Childress.
Almost tied up. Duncan battling to get it free, and he is fouled by Parks.
He's limited offensively. You can see that he's a little mechanical in the lane, Brett. And that's just from a lack of experience playing big-time basketball.
Yeah, big men have to be careful about bringing the ball down too low, don't they, Dick, in this situation?
Yes, they neutralize themselves. They become a 5'11 player instead of a 6'11 player. See, he brings it down low. Now he's no longer 6'11. He becomes a little guy. So to all you big guys up there, learn how to keep that ball away from the little guy.
I tell you, that's one thing that Dean Smith has taught the big man over in North Carolina through the years. You watch a Carolina post man, and he'll keep that ball high, game in and game out. Yesterday, Montross, even though they lost the game, when he'd get a rebound, he'd keep it up over his head. Into Hill's hands, and Duke here with a late burst in the first half can go into the locker room with a lead.
Setting a screen up high for Hill.
Great rotation, rattled out, and he goes back in and puts it in off his own shot.
Oh, what a play!
Wake Forest can't allow the shooter to go in and take his own offensive rebound and put it back.
So agile and so mobile and not fragile.
Odom won't be happy about that. Whoever was responsible for defending him on the outside's got to keep him off the glass.
If you were evaluating right now and have a chart on Grant Hill, what can he do? He can knock down the open shot. He can play defense. He can rebound. I mean, he does it all.
And it'll be Blucas. There's his 4th 3.
Bingo, bango, Blucas. I love the way you call Blucas.
And not a bad foul at that end, by the way, even though Odom is unhappy over there on the sideline. So often you see it off a big play that you don't get back defensively. You relax just a little bit in a good time, and a good team like Duke will burn.
Yeah, they'll really burn you to get it out of the net really quick. Arkansas really gets it out of the net. Hey, I think Arkansas right now is the best team in America the way they're playing. And after this week, they beat Kentucky at Kentucky. They beat Florida, who's 19-3, and they really got their full cast back now. I really think Arkansas, they're going to get my vote as #1 for this week.
Regardless of how Duke does here on the road?
Yeah, I'm going to go Duke birthday win #2. I think Mike would agree. Mike would say, you know what? I'd rather be #1 in Charlotte and cut the nets down.
Well, you know, the truth is, you would like to be one of 4 #1s. You know, being #1 doesn't matter much. If you can still wind up with a top seed, you're fine. Carolina's still on target to do that. Lang now with 11 points here in the first half, as is Duke. Arkansas
buzzer. I think it's amazing what Mike has done this year after losing Bob Hurley, the heart and guts of this basketball team. To have them in a position where they've only lost 2 games at this point is just incredible.
Well, we're going to return to ABC Raycom College basketball after this message of the word from our ABC stations. Duke leading 39-34. We're at halftime. Winston-Salem.
College days, he was better known for his exploits on the hardwood. Wide receiver Ricky Prohl has sure hands in the support of the Phoenix faithful. But can those assets help Prohl outdunk Lofton?
Yo, DJ, pump this.
This is good.
And welcome back to Arizona State University. John Saunders and Dick Vitale. 7th annual Foot Locker Slam Fest. One half of the bracket has been completed as far as the second round is concerned. Powell, Joyner, Risen, and Connolly have all advanced, and now we will see who will join them in the second round.
Well, we'll watch Kenny Lofton, for example, a creative dunk. A Mark Henry could be a surprise. But we have Lofton against Ricky Prohl, one of the favorites now here from Phoenix.
Kenny Lofton was a major disappointment last year, Dick, and he is one of the best dunkers out here in warm-ups.
Well, he really is a dunker machine during a warm-up situation. But last year, with selection of dunks, he comes up empty right there, trying to go really to simplify his dunk. A little jam down the lane, but he bricks it. Timing was a little bit off. The problem in the past has been selection of dunks. Here's Ricky Prohl. He's a Wake Forest Demon Deacon.
Prohl is a crowd favorite, obviously plays for Phoenix and goes for a simple dunk but gets it down.
Well, he's got pretty good hops, but it really is a basic dunk. His wife certainly loves the dunk. Gets an 8.6.
8.6 puts him in the lead, and Kenny Lofton knows he is capable of beating that score. He allows Prohl to go first.
Prohl tries a power dunk, but he's empty. Kenny Lofton, with his natural dunking ability, should be able to beat an 8.6. In the past, the selection of a dunk has been his dilemma.
Oh, trying a pretty tough one here.
Oh, that's too tough. That's too tough. He comes up short. Comes up short, a little too far away from the goal. We're going to take a look right now at the replay of this difficult dunk. There's the bounce on the floor. Here comes Lofton. He's got great legs. But look how far away he is. Hey, rock that tape. Rock that tape so we can get a look. Look how far away he is, John.
For the second year in a row, Kenny Lofton is upset early.
Kenny, 2 years in a row now. You've been upset here. One of the favorites. What's your feeling?
That's the breaks. You know, things like that happen, and you just got to deal with it.
You went to a real tough dunk to try and beat that 8.6. That bounce is a tough dunk.
Yeah, it was, but I was too far away from the rim, and my first couple of balls I saw was off timing, and I still shouldn't have. On that third one, I should have just let it go.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. Congratulations, Ricky.
We have the first upset of this tournament, as Ricky Prohl will advance to face either Steve Atwater or Mark Henry. We'll be back. Two Mikes, Connolly and Powell, are triple and long jumpers respectively. Each year they come in here as favorites. Every one of the athletes gathered here has the ability to slam dunk a basketball. But to come away with a $50,000, Dick, what does it take?
John, you got to be able to be an old-timers Edison. You got to be an inventor and a creative guy. And you got a little basketball background. I remember when Delino DeShields shocked everybody, the baseball player. But he was a hoopster, baby. So I think you got to have a little flair, a little pizzazz, and you better be able to get up there high and be a skywalker.
The jumpers practice every day. No wonder the other athletes have a chip on their shoulders.
One of those jumpers will win again. This is their livelihood. I mean, they train every day to jump. So you're really at a mismatch, you know, to really jump against them because, you know, you got guys slapping balls off their heels and dunking them and, you know, turning 3 times and dunking them and jumping from the foul line. And, you know, you can't compete with that kind of stuff, man. That hang time is just too much, man. I can't keep 250 pounds in the air that long.
So what can the football players do to compensate? They rely on leaping ability, power, and grace.
When I attack it, I attack it. That's the bottom line. I try and be a little bit more vicious than others. Try and use my leaping ability. Try and make it look with a little bit of flair. I think that's what really sets off the dunks.
Another wild card, the little man factor. And we're still waiting for a 300-pounder to get one down.
When you have a guy with 300 pounds or very big guys dunking the ball, you know, people realize that it's not a very easy thing to do. Just like just the opposite, if you have somebody 5'6" or 5'5" dunking the ball, like a Spud Webb or Barry Sanders, they can get the crowd going too.
And later today, we'll see one of the biggest of them all, 370-pound Mark Henry against Steve Atwater.
Duke. Having played on national championship teams his first 2 seasons, he was the National Defensive Player of the Year as a junior. Now a senior, he's a consensus preseason All-America. Grant Hill, the Band Naismith Nominee of the Week.
Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Duke leading Wake Forest 39-34. What a pleasure it is to go around the country and carry Dick Vitale's books wherever. It was a feeding frenzy, folks. Throwing them to the students before the game. You really get them fired up over there, Coach.
Well, at least give the name of the new book, Tourney Time.
Let's go to the halftime stats. We got a couple of players who are red hot.
I'll tell you one thing, you talk about red hot. Grant Hill certainly was sensational. We look at the first half stats right here with Duke winning by 5. We look at the rebound totals, Duke 14-10 in that first half. And the three-point shot, 5 for 5 for Wake, certainly keeps them knocking on the door.
Now, here is defense setting up Mr. Perfect at the other end.
Well, they did a great job defensively down in a post against Cherokee Parks. He was 1 for 4. Look at the help by Trelawney Owens. And there's the double up with Tim Duncan. Now they get it out, and they get it out into the hands of their shooter. Harrison right now, good ball reversal. What an unselfish play. Blucas, what a half. 5 for 5, 4 for 4 from three-point range. Was sensational, 16 big points. But this is the guy I love, number 33, Grant Hill, multi-dimensional. There he is with the J. He comes off, but look who rebounds, and he lays it down. And Brent says, yes, he's a superstar.
Mr. Hill goes 8 of 12, 18 points, played all 20 minutes, as did Randolph Childress in this game. He checked Childress a lot. Childress pulled the trigger only 3 times, was 2 of 3, handed out 2 assists and 1 turnover. So Grant Hill doing it at both ends, isn't he? Offensively and defensively. Blucas has to pick up the slack with Childress being cut down. 4 fours, Dick told you, from three-point land. But folks, this one's not over. Let's see now with Hill picking up Childress immediately to start the second half.
You know, Blucas has a career in that first half. He's only averaging 5 points a game. The guy that's got to get active is Trelawney Owens. He has to get active. 16 points a game. He was 1 for 5 in the first half. Number 40 in white. There he is.
Right now, Dick. Up over Parks. And still can't get the jump shot to fall. He's had his shots. He's gone up over the top with him, and he's just missing here today. Now it is Collins into Hill in the corner.
Hill's averaging 13 shots a game, and in this game he has 12 already in the first half.
Campbell misses and Duncan rebound.
Which tells me he's becoming a little bit more aggressive offensively. I think that's a great sign.
Childress will take it on the inside of the penetration hit. Harrison with the pass for the deuce.
Hey, Childress really passing the rock. I know you were really excited with the one he made to Blucas earlier, but right there, didn't force the action. He drove the 3D man. Drive, draw, dish the lot.
Now 6 offensive rebounds, Dick, for Duke in that first half. They converted to 7 points. Wake Forest had only 1 for 2. That's a 5-point difference. That represents the scoring difference between the 2 teams at the half. So Wake Forest going to have to keep Duke off the offensive glass. Knocked away on the turnover. Here comes Blucas.
Grant Hill now rotates over to Blucas. He goes to the hot hand instead of playing Childress.
Found in low. He'll go again, and this time he's successful. The second field goal for Trelawney Owens.
They have to get him involved. We talked about it at halftime. He's too good a player, too experienced to be 1 for 5 in the first half. A little isolation up on top for Hill. See right there, I think you got to deny the ball to Grant Hill. You can't let him come back and catch that basketball. When it goes down inside, I think you got to go to complete denial.
20 points for Hill. Childress bumped by Parks as he's coming through.
Childress really one of the premier guards in the ACC. We saw an excellent guard yesterday. A little guy that I love, and Travis Best.
That is 3 personal fouls on Cherokee Parks right now with only 2 points, and you can see that Capel will sit down. Michigan with a win on the road, and anytime you can win on the road in the Big Ten, it's a quality win. How about Northwestern coming alive against Illinois? The Fighting Illini figured to walk all over the Wildcats, but it was not to be.
That's your alma mater. Wow, I know you're smiling. You were telling Mike Krzyzewski is from Chicago. We're all about your alma mater. Hey, we want to win the best, wish the best to Ricky Birdsong, who, as Mike said, is one great guy and is sitting out right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Some emotional problems, and we want to see him back. He's done an excellent job there as a coach, and I'm sure he'll be fine.
You know, you mentioned Michigan. I think they're a lock to win the Big Ten. 5 of the next 7 games are at home.
So Childress now on the day with 7 points after that free throw.
See, Harrison's going to try to check Hill. He can't. He's too big. He's got to get the ball to Hill. Oh, look at that pass inside.
Parks will come to the free throw line, but he is frustrated that he could not get the field goal to fall.
You got to convert that inside. Good two-man play. Hill came off a curl move, rotated the ball down deep inside the Parks.
Now, is there any way that Dave Odom and Wake Forest, as we watch Parks down in here, can pick up that 4th one with him still on the floor, Dave?
Right there. Yeah, I would really go at Parks. I'd try to get number 4 because when you talk about that bench, Brent, you look at the bench, they got Eric Meek, but they don't have a lot of experience. Guys like Newton and Beard have not played a lot.
Is this an unusual gamble for Coach K to leave Parks out there right now with so much time left in the second half?
No, not really. I think with 3 fouls, you got to play a guy. He's an experienced player. He's got to utilize really his ability, experience-wise, to make sure he doesn't make that silly foul. I think, you know, a lot of guys wait and try to protect guys, and they end up going down in spurts, 7-1, 8-2, and then you bring a guy back in, and it's too late.
Childress works for his 3. What a shooter he is.
And he's really not forcing shots. That's what's impressing me today. Randolph Childress is waiting for the action to come to him.
This is Collins outside. Crowd alive with the score tied again. Parks muscling in. He puts Duke up by 2.
But that's created again by the great dribble penetration of Grant Hill. Sensational driver.
Pulling Duncan out a little bit higher to screen at the top, and Childress comes off the dribble with the scoop now for 12 for Randolph Childress.
I tell you, he can flat out score. He can give you the long-range jumper, and he can also drive. And I like the way he's passing the basketball, improving his ball handling skills.
Here's the franchise.
I mean, he is everything. He is a star of stars, Grant Hill. Look at this. Wake hasn't missed from out there.
Muscling back inside. Cherokee Parks now going to work in close, and I'm sure the Coach K must have had a couple of words with him at the intermission.
Ooh, quiet, introverted Mike Krzyzewski. I mean, as calm a West Point cadet. I know you'd love it up at West Point. You told me you'd love to do an Army-Navy game. Now look at Parks going down in deep. There's Parks spinning to the baseline. I mean, Duncan better be ready because they're going to attack him right now.
So Timmy Duncan, with his hands full, will take a break here, and Coach Odom will work with the young man over there on the sideline. 3 personal fouls on Duncan. He's going to be critical down the stretch.
See, now in that situation, you take him out because he's young. He's a diaper dandy. He's a freshman. Where Parks got a lot of experience postseason. I mean, Duke 6 and 7 years from 86 to 92 to the Final Four.
Stan King is now responsible for Cherokee Parks. He's number 51. He'll be down on the low block. 13 here with the dribble is Harrison.
King with a lot of size.
Trudani Owen has had trouble with his jump shot, and it continues. He just cannot get it to fall. And Grant Hill, who's done everything, another rebound, hits Lang on the break with a beautiful pass rejection. Now Childress in a foot race coming out. Back is Hill. Childress with a pull-up has it knocked away and into the hands of Hill. Turn it over. Lead pass. Parks easy.
Hey, again, my guy Grant Hill, are you serious? 2-on-1. He stops the play and then makes the pass the other end to Parks. Love him. The most complete package in the game.
Quickly, remember the score was tied at 44, and Duke builds a 5.
Collins now playing man-to-man on Harrison.
This is that point where Wake needs a 3 again to come alive, and that fouls on Clark. He was out a little too tight on Childress that time.
Yeah, Clark trying to deny the basketball. Clark came from the same high school as St. Joe's in the Chicago area that produced Isaiah Thomas.
And Hill even has some time to do a little coaching over there on the floor, telling Marty just to tone it down. Things are going to be okay.
Presentation is brought to you by Pizza Hut, who reminds you that any time's a great time to stop and smell the pizza. Vicks NyQuil Liquid Caps, part of the Vicks family of products. Amstel Light, who says nothing's perfect. And Foot Locker, the world's most complete athletic footwear store, where it all begins.
Next week, Bud Light Hall of Fame Championship, special time, 2 Eastern time. And that's just the first of a big day of sports coming your way. After that, UCLA, Arizona, 3:30 Eastern time. Pizza Hut college basketball next week on ABC. Well, here it is, the Grant Hill Show. 20 points, 9 of 13, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, and some great defense being applied to Randolph Childress.
There he is,
you can see it right on it.
What a good screen, good switch. Duke does an excellent job. You got to communicate on screens.
Childress pulls up on Lang, hits that.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Knocks down his third trifecta.
They needed it. They had fallen back by 5, and that's what keeps Wake Forest in it. Childress now with 15 for the game.
That's what you like about special players. They make the big play. Hill for Duke, Childress for Wake Forest.
Wake Forest can tie or go ahead as they come back off the miss.
Trying to sweep Duke, beat him the first time in a controversial one down at Duke.
From the corner, there's the tie as Owens takes his jump shot out to the baseline and hits.
Yeah, he was having a tough time inside against Parks. I believe Parks' size really was bothering Owens early.
Collins thought about it, gave it up.
Out of the zone on the perimeter.
They've got to watch. Gives it up into the corner. Penetration off the dribble. And Parks fires it back to Hill. Now the shot clock down inside at 10 for Duke. They'll have to move. It hits 5. Collins will take the shot off the iron. Owens battles to save it. And it's Wake Forest ball. They can take the lead. Can you believe it?
Super hustle right there by Owens.
Childress pulls it out. There now it's Wake running it down, and I should say Duke runs it down in the corner now, and Grant Hill has control. That was good Wake Forest defense on that last trip.
Yeah, but bad offense. I thought this was the first bad shot Childress has taken. He really just took that quickly. The great advantage that Hill has at 6'8", he looks right over the top of the little guys on the perimeter.
Clark off the dribble on the penetration, blocking foul call on Wake.
Nick Paparo with the call, calls that block. Wake's got 2 other home games. They have one with North Carolina and one with Clemson. So at 5 and 4, they'll win some home games because the road trip's not going to be any easier.
Now they check the football player in. Rusty LaRue, the 6'2" sophomore from Greensboro, North Carolina, with Harrison sitting down. So here's Rusty here in the second half.
He can really shoot the ball, Grant.
They get a little more offense on the floor right now.
He's a quarterback. There's that zone defensively.
Parks being given a break. Clark misses on the 3. Offensive rebound by Meek. Back to Lang. Jump shot got the bounce.
Antonio Lang with that good touch. Looks okay after the injury to his knee earlier this week.
Now Wake Forest trailing by 2 again. We'll see what they can get. Off the dribble. Childress pulls up on the penetration. It rattled out. And a foul is called. That was King reaching back in on Meek.
They're trying to get some minutes out of King. Not really a guy that has a lot of offensive skills, but he's a big space eater at 7 feet. Meek had 10 points and 10 rebounds against Georgia Tech coming off the bench in their last game. I just love the way this guy has such poise with the basketball in his hand.
Clark, daylight on the baseline, swatted away just at the end. And it's Duke ball.
Clark really trying to create some of a little dribble penetration and drive. Really not there, trying to draw the contact. Number 3.
Duncan returns with 3 personals. King sits.
Well, that ain't gonna hurt. King gave him a few minutes inside, a big body on the baseline.
Goes to Wake Forest. Travis Banks checks for Wake Forest with Mike Upset.
Nice tie he's wearing. Happy birthday, as you said earlier, 47 years of age.
So they're going to take Childress off the ball right now and let LaRue bring it down on this particular set.
Yeah, let Childress play off the ball right now in a scoring position, which he normally does with Harrison on the floor. Man-to-man defense, help inside, trying to deny on the wings.
Nothing being created by Wake right here, so Childress takes the three, and it's not there. Into Collins' hands. There was nothing really doing. They were sort of standing around, never got into a set, did they, that time?
No, if you want good offense, you got to have ball movement of play.
Clearly not called, so down underneath the baseline, Dickie Papero decides to do something about it. So Clark picks up the offensive foul. Would have been cheaper if traveling been called the first place, right, folks? So we'll come back. It's a 2-point Duke lead right now.
Anywhere between 85 and 95, but it's a fun game. I love it because it's about controlling a ball, and I do that with basketball.
Oh, Christian Leitner.
It's just a little frustrating because you can hit 4 good shots in a row and then hit one in the water.
I'm hitting the heck out of this ball. I love this game.
What club do we use?
Come here for a second. The ball may have been somewhere in this area. This is the only proof we have that there was ever golf played here. Oh, look. My word, it's the island of Guam. Returned to its natural setting after the volcanic shift. Well, you need work on that.
Okay, I'm going to start playing for real now. I thought it was supposed to roll.
UCLA.
On Sunday, don't they have that pizza buffet? You ever drop by that on your road trips? You know, huh? Here's Grant Hill. What an afternoon he has had here in Winston-Salem.
There's his dad.
Pretty proud. Understandably so. Probably enjoys his son's accomplishments more than he did his own when he was playing. What a treat that is to have a son who can play like that. All right, now Banks on the bounce into Jelani Owens. He's going to go over Lang. Up high, not there. Swatted. Loose. Run down by Mr. Hill. Hill now brings it up alone, hits Lang. They work back for the three from Collins is short and into Banks' hands.
Chris really struggling shooting the three right now.
Nick, let's see if Wake Forest gets something. Yeah, now they start to pound it in, but one pass and out, but it was Duncan with an offensive rebound in the left hand.
Here's Duncan hanging around the basket. I was just going to say, they're shooting the ball too quickly, Wake Forest. They got to make the extra pass. They got to get a little bit more ball movement.
And shoot will take you out of a lot of basketball games.
Especially against good clubs that'll make you pay for that, like the Dukes, like the North Carolinas, the Arkansas.
Yeah, Indiana, too, they'll bring it down to a level, won't they? Clark ships it on back around Hill.
That's the first mistake he made. I mean, I can't believe he dropped the ball.
Here's Clark on a runner. Can't get it to fall right now. And everybody else, really, when you think about it, struggling a little bit offensively, except number 33. So the burden increases for Grant Hill if no one else is going to help him pick up the slack. And let's see now what Mr. Childress might have up his sleeve here.
They're trying to go one-on-one with Childress. What a little move from Lucas. They're really matching up on him since he had that big first half.
He had a career in the first half. Career high for Lucas, 16, and he's scoreless here in the second half.
He didn't miss a shot in the first half. In 5 threes, there he is.
Finally misses. Tap back, and Childress runs it down. Pull up. Not there. He's cold right now.
See, he's not getting shots within the offense, though, Brent. That's just coming up the court, little one-on-one dribble shoot, and everybody else stands around. Deacon fans can't be happy. Davey Odom, they found him in that stable that Howard Garfinkel produced out of 5-star. Calipari, Patino, Fratello, UB Brown.
Now, despite the fact that they're struggling, and they're not showing a lot of offense right now, let's keep in mind that on the scoreboard, they're right there with Duke.
They're hanging. Oh, look, wide open.
Open man, Childress. And drew the foul that
Parks, big four. I believe it was on Parks.
So Meek is going to have to check in here soon. We've got almost 10 minutes left in the game. Watch underneath now. Here comes the fourth personal. Here it is. Watch 44.
Now here comes Parks over.
That was beautiful on Childress's part. There was very intelligent. He backed up to draw the foul. He knew where the pressure was coming from that time.
Well, he learned that in basketball camps and also with Davey Odom, how you square your body to the baseline when you catch the ball inside. Go to a little power layup and you protect the basketball.
It was more important to draw the fourth on Parks than it was to hit the field goal that time. Write that down at the 9:52 mark. It's interesting now to take the pressure off. They don't take Parks out of the game, but they send Meek in to double up with him underneath.
Got to give Meek to give him a little help. Mike Krzyzewski believes in playing his players. That's his style of coaching on that sideline. What a staff he has. Peter Gadev, Michael Bray, and Tommy Amica definitely heading to be a future star in coaching.
Randolph Childress, 17 points right now on the afternoon with the 2 free throw. Amica, who someday, write it down, going to be a head coach somewhere, Mr. Vitale.
Oh, that's a lot. There's no question. Turned down the Northwestern job last year. The Deacons up 2. That scoreboard's driving me nuts. I can't find it. I mean, you can't find the score. You had a remedy for that at halftime.
I did, but I don't know if they'll listen to me. Here's Hill now getting inside on the jumper. Leaner, not there.
Hill. Foul up. Hill committed the foul. Trying to make that offensive rebound. Came over the top.
Now remember, the Deacons, despite this great performance by Grant Hill, have built themselves a lead here. Childress has had his hands full. Harrison is picked up by Grant Hill this time. And there's the steal. This'll tie it. Capel.
Oh, there's the thunder dunk. Good anticipation. The diaper dandy stepped to the passing lane. Converts.
6 tie now. Capel, the freshman from Fayetteville, his first field goal of the game. Dead even at 53.
Matchup's really important. Going inside to Duncan, taking it up. Parks with 4.
And Parks can't do much in that situation.
That was Matador defense. He just stood there. Just absolutely stood there because he knows he has 4. And Duncan shows a little bit savvy to take it up and score.
Off Parks' hands, out of bounds. Wake Forest, an opportunity to take the lead on the turnover. Not a good pass by Krzyzewski's team.
Hey, Brent, can we have it 2 days in a row? A sweep, Georgia Tech over Carolina, and Wake over Duke. When everybody said revenge, I mean, who are all those guys talking about? Revenge, no shot, Wake the second.
Hey, wait a minute. Who are all those guys? You and me. Come on, let's not be blaming everybody else. I know you're our own foibles here. It's Harrison, and that's a bad pass too. Threw it right to Cherokee.
He's got Collins. He's got Collins.
Sealed up, cross court, high, pulled down by Meek.
Very intelligent. Grant Hill.
Rattled out. Not as hot as he was in the first half. Harrison possession Wake. Demon Deacons now again an opportunity to build on that lead.
Harrison played a solid game as a floor general. Trying to find the hot man. They're really blanket right now. Lucas, they're playing a little push. He got away with a push right there for Lucas.
Jump shot banged in by Trelawney. 4-8 total.
We talked about Trelawney having to pick it up. He's got 6 points in the second half after being blank practically in the first half. Was 1 for 5.
Wake Forest builds a 4-point advantage.
Big possession right now. They got to stop the momentum, dude. That slide Hill inside. Get him in a lane inside.
The biggest thing for Wake is the fact that Grant Hill's gone a little cold here all of a sudden. He'll try to get it back, and he's not. He doesn't have it, so he'll put it back again. He misses again. And now it is Parks coming up, and he is fouled. Cherokee Parks coming up to the free throw line.
Good offensive rebound by Parks to put him in a position to reduce the lead to 2. That was a big possession. They come up empty. They get the basketball away. They can go up by 7 with a 3.
Dick, I find it very interesting that with 8 minutes to go, that he left Cherokee Parks out there with 4 personal. Mike definitely feels he has a matchup problem with this team, and he's got to leave him out there.
Every coach has different philosophies. He learned that, I really believe, working under the general. Bobby Knight does basically the same thing, Brent. I'm not going to argue with that Hall of Famer. Bobby Knight played a big role. You and I were talking at halftime. It's amazing when you think of Mike Krzyzewski, 9-17 his last year at West Point, and he gets one of the most prestigious jobs in America. MVP Tom Butters for recognizing his talent after hearing about him from Bobby Knight.
1 of 2 at the line by Parks. Into Duncan's hands off the rebound. It's now a 3-point advantage. We hit the 7-minute mark.
Now shot selection, management of the clock really becomes important. We thought yesterday North Carolina didn't play well at the end of the game.
Another half-court set here for Wake Forest, trying to come up with something. The interior defense. There it is. The reach in by Cherokee Parks. At 6:42, he's gone.
Bye-bye. He's got to bring Lang in. Go for a little quickness. Peter Goodette. Tomas Krzyzewski's right.
Now, wait a minute. Now they're not going to call it.
Inadvertent whistle there, Clayton. Inadvertent whistle.
Holy
Look at
cow.
Davey Odom.
I don't blame him.
He can't believe it.
We'll return to ABC Raycom College Basketball after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Now, I want you just to listen here and watch. Watch Cherokee Parks 44. No question the whistle blew. They say inadvertent. Dick, my question to you is, do you think he fouled him?
Really questionable if he bumps him. Now we take a look from here. There's post position. He's got a hand on him. I mean, with the contact allowed in the post, that is a questionable call if it were a foul, but they call it inadvertent, which means no call, and the ball goes over to Wake Forest, who had possession.
Let's give the benefit of the doubt on that. It would have been kind of a cheap fifth anyway. Let's go ahead and play. It's 6:42. And Cherokee Parks now sits at 6:42.
But at least he knows he's got him available for down the last 4 minutes. So that's a big possession there for Duke.
Now Wake coming back with the lead. King has checked into the game.
We're lucky that didn't happen down at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I love that environment. I love the Cameron Crazies, but they would have went nuts with that inadvertent whistle. Try to set a high screen. There's Owens with that big wide body. See how they step out? That's called help and recover.
Recognizing the bigger man, tried to force on the penetration.
See, not a good
shot. No, that wasn't a good play.
Not a real smart play right there by Childress, trying to create a situation that didn't exist. Duke does a good job playing, coming over the top.
The worst thing about that whistle is the emotional letdown that Wake Forest had to suffer. They thought Cherokee Parks was gone at 6:42. Suddenly he's not, and there's confusion, and it throws them off their rhythm. Then they can't get themselves off a good shot. Now they are up by 3, and let's see how they regroup. Here comes Grant Hill.
They're playing King right now. Give him a few minutes inside with Duncan with 4. Trying to reverse the ball, swing the ball side to side. I love the skip pass. Throw it over the top of the defense. Deep trying to sit him down deep.
Another runner. Going to go against Duke.
Grant Hill hurt his ankle. Grant's come up a little bit lame right here, and he's also struggling a little bit in the second half. His shot not falling down. He turned his ankle.
Now Childress is going up to Papero to see if they can get this straightened out. They want to come up here and shoot some free throws if they can. Did they have control of this ball down here?
Okay, now it's Grant Hill. Here he is trying to penetrate. He splits the defense. Takes that little running one-hander. You watch him right here. Turned his ankle.
That's pretty close, but instead they give it to him out of bounds, and up they come. And as far as the team fouls are concerned, that is the 6th. So that is the 6th team foul now on the Blue Devils. That's the situation. Trelawney Owens on turnaround 10 for the game.
Big play inside. We said he had to step it up, averaging 60 a game, now in double figures. Had only a deuce at halftime.
The biggest lead for Wake. They build a 5. For Duke, they're struggling as Grant Hill has gone cold here in the second half.
They have to score in his possession. Big possession right here.
Rattled out, loose. Harrison with the ball, and Duke is in trouble. They can't find another scorer to pick up the slack with Hill Cole right now.
Good assessment right there, Brent. You beat me to the punch, but basically that's their dilemma. They got to find somebody else to be able to put some points on the board.
Got to give you a crumb every now and then. Back out of Harrison.
Now you want to use the shot clock. You want to manage the clock well, and you want to make sure the right option shoot the ball. Owens.
Again, short, back in his hands, knocked away by Capel. And Wake with possession now. Let me remind you about our doubleheader. Either one, folks, you're going to see a great game. Arizona, Cal in the Pac-10. Temple, UMass in the Atlantic 10. Take your choice. Whichever one's coming your way, you're going to see a good game as Cherokee Parks at 4:49 checks in with 4 personal fouls right now.
Can we get on a plane and go see those games? I want to see those games. Brett, get the private jet. Hello, trouble, baby. There's trouble for the Dukies. That's the... And Mike will be 0-3 against Wake Forest on his birthday. Today's birthday. He's 0-2 against Wake.
Lucas.
I tell you, the country really amazes me in college basketball. We talk about that word parity, but it's just incredible. Watching Childress with that slashing, hanging, riding. I mean, is that a tough shot? Is that a tough shot? Only the great ones make that kind of work.
Dick, you know, when I worked with Hubie Brown, I remember the one point he always made about the NBA. I'm not so sure it doesn't occur over to college basketball. He said you need 3 great players to win the NBA. But you almost need 3 big-time scorers, don't you, on any basketball team? And Duke relying on one man. If the one man falls off for you, you're suddenly in trouble, which is what we're seeing here with Duke.
Well, they usually get more scoring out of Cherokee Parks and Lang, and that really becomes important to them. But to really be solid, if you have a great inside-outside combo, you got a chance to win, like Beston Forrest, or you have a combo like Howard and Rose, Kidd and Murray.
Now, Hill, Dick, listen to this, 8 for 12 in the first half and 1 for 6 in the second. Entirely different. I have said all along that the underrated part of this game has been Wake Forest defense.
I'll tell you one problem with Hill could be a little fatigued. Ryan Childress physically could really be exhausted in affecting his shot.
Make him chase you. Make him chase you. Childress said there was some interference up on the top, and yes, it was touched. It's going to be Wake's ball out of bounds. Forest hold up. Can they sweep Duke? They lead by 6. It's their biggest lead of the game.
UMass or Arizona battles Cal. It's game 2 of our Pizza Hut College basketball doubleheader next on ABC.
Dick Vitale, I'm Brett Musburger. Here is our storyline. 61-55. Wake Forest regains a lead after trailing 39-34 at the half because of this. Look at Duke. First half, they had 48%, only 28 in the second. Folks, Wake Forest allows just over 65 points a game. That is number 1 in the ACC. They have allowed 40% from the field all year. That's number 3 in the conference. And remember, Dick, they shoot very well at the free throw line down the stretch. Childress splits the day and won't fall. And Duke now with an opportunity.
That was a big play right there. Great drive by Childress, but can't get the score.
Now Duke searching for a score. And Clark rattles it in.
That could be big, that play there. What a 4-point swing. Instead of being up 8 with less than 4 on the clock, it's a 4-point game.
Now let's see how Wake handles the heat of Duke trying to close in here inside of 4. Easy. Childress banged on top of the head.
Stay right here. Don't move. Stay right here.
He used that great head fake and ball fake to get free from that shot and to get the contact.
They'll take as much time as they need to get him on the free throw line. We're not sending any of these sub to shoot the free throws for him, says Coach Odom.
He's a good free throw shooter, and they really, as a team, as you said earlier. Now watch the head fake. Now here comes the head fake, and Lang goes up over the top, makes contact. Oh, Antonio, you left something on the floor. Can't go with those fakes.
Reminder now tonight after America's Funniest Home Videos, then the new America's Funniest People. Will You Marry Me? 3 men and a little lady starting at 7, 6 Central. Tonight, your lineup on ABC. We're going to take a break. A timeout has been called by Wake Forest. They're going to give Childress a little time. Dave Odom wants a clarification from the officials, and we'll be right back. Stepping up to the free throw line now. Wake Forest leading Duke 61-57. Shooting the 1-on-1. This is a big front end, and it rattled in. That's 20 points now for him. He is right on his average. Interesting game in that Lucas scored 16 for Wake, and he's scoreless in the second half. Hill had 18 for Duke in the first, and only 2 here in the second half. Now Childress with a second free throw, and again a very fine free throw shooting team.
81% he shoots on that line. ABC's best, Childress. He's the guy you'd want on the line if you're Wake Forest.
When you've got Randolph Childress in a lead like this at home and you shoot free throws, you've got trouble right now. And Duke hasn't been able to find any scores. Lang. Rattles off. Trelawney Owens yanks it away. Wake Forest wants it right now. They want the sweep.
Trelawney Owens has played big here in the second half, defensively and also offensively with some big baskets. They're going to spread the court. They're going to use that clock.
No one wants to be number 1, folks. Write it down. The Razorbacks are headed for that top spot.
Oh, the Hogs, they're going to be chanting, "Whoa, Big Suey." There's a switch by Duke, popping the ball.
Dive for Harrison with a loose ball. Nice save by Wake. They want it. They have gotten to the loose balls here late.
Oh, Hill picked his pocket.
He did. What a great steal at the 2:30 mark by Grant Hill. Lead pass now to Collins. Duke has got to hurry. They needed something. Clark will come down the baseline. Rejected by Duncan. That's his 3rd block of the game for the freshman from St. Croix.
He's a super shot blocker, one of the best in America. He's averaging 3 block shots a game. Great timing for a young player.
Childress eyeing the clock, wants to take time off and drew the foul, and he is down. These are some painful free throws for Randolph Childress.
He's really paying the price. I mean, they're really banging him and really knocking him down, but he's really responding to the challenge.
Wait a minute. I know your daddy was a football player, but you got to bounce me around to hardwood like this here.
I think he'll take it if he knows he's going to get those free trips to that line, because he can shoot those free throws.
Now, Wake Forest is 12 for 15 from the free throw line with 80%.
There's Duncan with the block shot. Great timing. He's going to be a solid player. He's solid now, but he's a young kid just learning how to play. St. Croix he came from and didn't really face a lot of big-time competition.
Here's the difference maker.
Big time. He's a star maker. He's a winner. He's the guy that gets you to that next level. Look at Flint Hill Prep, outstanding program. Out of Virginia. Dennis Scott came from that program as well.
Well, if you can put the ball in the hands of a guard, he can shoot field goals and then free throws. Although that time he missed into the hands of Parks. Duke staying alive, but they've got to hurry now. Down to the 2-minute mark. Hill left, and timeout is called quickly after the made field goal, and that the deuce for Grant Hill is second here of the second half. So quickly they stop that clock at the 2:01 mark.
Grant Hill really makes the big play that they need. I saw the bus driver just starting to sneak out, but he hesitated. He was ready to warm up the engine when Hill knocked that down. He said, "No, we got a little time. There's Calvin Hill." No, that's not the bus driver. That's Calvin Hill. Duke does a great job in these situations over the years. They do an excellent job managing the clock. Use any time. And number 2, it puts a young freshman, a diaper dandy without a whole lot of experience on that line. The only positive from St. Croix, he's probably not super aware of the pressure of what this is all about. Good buddy of ours lives in St. Croix, Jim Simpson. Broadcasting star for many a year.
Not a bad place to be living this winter, is it, folks?
Place is quiet and silent. Bershemans is a big free throws. I mean, I'll tell you what, he didn't tickle that net, baby. He just stepped up there and stroked it.
That was cool, calm, had good rotation on the ball, not a doubt. Here he comes, Mr. St. Croix. Oh, what a man. That's 10 for the game, right on his average. 2 huge throws for freshman Tim Duncan.
They were big. They were absolutely 2 big ones. They needed 3 out of Collins.
Rims out, knocked away by Lang. Wake Forest ball that went out of bounds. They're going to have to foul right away.
Warm up the bus, baby. Warm up the bus. Get the man to warm up the engine, the bus driver. Got to go back to Durham and regroup because this one is going to be academic. What a great performance defensively by Wake Forest. Oh, they released Childress. They had him wide open.
Parks.
Great hustle.
Bangs into him, and Childress has got the ball.
Great hustle by Parks.
And Childress now works his way to the free throw line. And Wake Forest is going to duplicate what Georgia Tech did against North Carolina. We welcome welcome those of you who've been watching Cincinnati and Marquette. Here Wake Forest is about to sweep Duke. Duke ranked #2, poised to perhaps move to #1, but instead it is going to be the Demon Deacons. They lead at 66-59 after trailing 39-34 at the half. Grant Hill had scored 18 for the Blue Devils in the first half, and he has scored only 4 here in the second half. We've got 1:41 to go, and the Demon Deacons hold a 7-point lead over Duke. Well, when you're coming from behind, Mr. Vitale, you need that three-point weapon, and Duke has missed its last 8, and they're 0 for 5 this half from out there.
They haven't been able to get any help offensively from all the other players other than Hill in that first half when he was scintillating. And it's been the defense, Brent. The absolute defensive game plan of Davey Odom has been sensational. They have done a great job shutting off all the complementary players that have been so helpful this year for Mike Krzyzewski and the Duke Blue Devils.
I think this is an excellent coaching job by Odom here in this game today. I really do.
Well, he's done a solid job for his career. It's been a 4th consecutive trip to the NCAA. This locks, by the way. I mean, I can't see, unless they really fold, they'll lose every game. I can't see them not getting into the big dance.
That's 23 for Childress.
He's been brilliant. I mean, he's been a star. I know he's lighting up your eyes. Look at the calm Duke bench. The Dukies will be back. They'll regroup. Mike Krzyzewski's a winner.
Childress was so very patient today. Quiet in the first half, and then he came alive. Hill misses, and into Duncan's hand.
Well, the bus driver's warming up the bus now. This one is history. This one's all over. Look at him handle a rock. Split the defense. Gonna draw the contact. Oh, he popped the ball loose. Hill did. That's the quick jam. It's a TO.
At 1:16. Clock is quickly stopped. It's a 7-point. And remember, it's always that 3-point field goal. So we'll take a break and come back for the final 1:16. Duke trailing by 7. Free throws. He had only 6 points at the end of the half. Now a total of 24. Duke is still alive, but they're going to have to commit some personal fouls quickly. At the free throw line, Duke is 10 of 13 on the game. They get it into Childress's hands. Wallace sent off the bench. Childress still looking for it, but Carroll lets the clock run a few seconds, and now he calls the personal, and Childress will come up here and shoot.
Brent, you got an unbelievable scoop if they can come back and win this basketball game, Duke. Because Wake Forest is in total command here at the end of the game. They've done a sensational job of handling the clock, something that did not exist in that game with North Carolina yesterday with Georgia Tech. So you and I have sat here and watched in a revenge game Georgia Tech get the big W against North Carolina. In a revenge game, Duke against Wake Forest. Wake Forest is going to march to the locker room with a sweep over Duke. And this is the key reason why. Randolph Childress. He wants a foul. He wants to talk to everybody. He's done a solid job handling the basketball, scoring, playing on a defensive end. I thought Grant Hill really got tired physically trying to guard him.
And when you make your offensive star work as hard defensively as Duke did today, it can take it out of you, and that's what's happened here this afternoon. Collins hits the 3 now from the corner.
Shot has not been there for Chris in this game. He's a very streaky shooter who has had some solid games, putting a lot of points on with the 3.
So in that little exchange, Duke gains 1 point. Now they're down by 2 threes at 104. Unlike my colleague, I don't end a game until it's over, folks. I've seen too many miracles in my life. Now, I'm not saying that it can't happen here, because they're going to get the ball to Childress, and for all intents and purposes, he's going to march down here and hit his free throws. But it is not impossible, is it? That's why they play the game.
Oh, it's not impossible at all. You talk about 2 possessions, something can possibly happen. But I will really be shocked, especially the way that they've been playing Wake Forest.
You wouldn't have an early airplane, would you?
I happen to have have one.
Well, really, overtime might cost you the flight.
Oh, gee.
Hey, I look forward to Orlando next Sunday and that double dip down there. That Louisville Temple game's a big-time game. We've got Cincinnati and Cal in the other one. Is that right? Are those the matchups down there in Orlando?
Matchup. You talk about California, we see Jason Kidd, who's coming up a little later. Brian Davis and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Rodney Rogers is here, the star. But, you know, coming down the stretch here, 2 possessions. Certainly, Duke is still banging on a door. I guess the way I feel it's wrapped is because of Childress' presence on the floor, who I believe is going to go to the line and get fouled.
There it is. Quickly now, the clock is stopped at 1:03. One thing to keep in mind is that Duke is out of timeouts. Mike cannot stop it any longer after a successful field goal. Wake Forest has 1 timeout left, but how do you keep Childress from scoring at the free throw line? Because he comes up there having hit 11 of 14 here in this game.
That's why I feel they're in major trouble, Duke, because of the presence of number 22, an 81% shooter on that free throw line. I mean, he's automatic there. Put it down, Brent. I know you're keeping score. Now put it down. Put another one down. Don't waste time. Get it down in the book, okay? Even though you don't agree with me down the stretch that this one's Lock City, I'm trying to educate you, get you away from the pigskin. It's Lock City, Mr. Musburger. Tuck it away. Tuck it away.
Hill missing the 3, and it's Duncan now wrapped up, and the freshman will come up. And the last time that the young man from St. Croix moved up to the free throw line, he just banged in a couple. And there's Childress demonstrating a little of that leadership that he has shown. The junior from Clinton, Maryland. This is a fine job by Wake Forest here this afternoon. Dick, I think you put your point out, though, defensively. I knew Wake Forest had scorers. I knew that Childress was a big-time scorer. Trelawney Owens struggled a bit, but I thought their defense was really effective.
I really did. I thought their game plan defensively, I mean, other than the brilliant performance by Grant Hill, who we know is the best complete player in America, inside, outside, ball handler, very unselfish, and he was, I mean, he did it all in the first half. Yet in the second half, their defensive game plan, give it help. He'll get a little bit tired, certainly won't. And the Deacon fans go bananas. Even they're loving this. Billy Packer's cheering out. Why don't we donate some money here?
It's Clark. Up 3 now for Marty Clark. 11 points for the game. They need to foul Owens quickly. 46.1 ticks of the clock. 74-67 as we welcome you back. The rest of our network here today with Wake Forest closing in on a win. That would make them 6-4 in the ACC, and under Coach Odom 16-7 for the season, and a very impressive sweep against Duke as Wake has hit 10 straight free throws, make it 11.
And see, that's the difference in winning the close basketball games, and that can be a major problem with North Carolina. They only shoot 64% as a team, uncharacteristic of a North Carolina basketball team. Where the ACC, Wake Forest is the best, shooting 74%. Their first miss in 12. Teasing Billy Packer a little bit earlier. He played here, was a great guard, All-American, super star, Wake Forest.
Back to Hill, they need the 3. That's a 2.
I really believe he's tired. He is really, I think his legs don't have that bounce to it like they did earlier. The kid was asked to do it all, number 33.
Childress looking over here for a little acknowledgement, taking a look at Dickie B and say, how's that for a sweep, Mr. B? You didn't think we could do it.
Oh, you said I didn't think they could do it. What about my guy, Brent F? He didn't think they could do it either. And he's been laughing at me here. It was great working with you, Brent.
Truth is, folks, I didn't think they had a chance today, especially after the start of this ball game, the way Hill was playing. But you've got to give Wake Forest all the credit in the world. They deserve this.
They did a great job, and I'm going to get all over our director. He's going to get me in trouble. I didn't have my jacket on. I had no idea they were throwing the camera on.
Jack O'Hara, the executive producer, is on the telephone right now. He says, what are you doing on air without your jacket? That's some demerits for you.
It's incredible. I didn't know they were going to throw it to me. Honest, I'm Drew Escroft. I'm going to shoot him.
We want to thank our crew, by the way. It's nice to have Drew back with us here this afternoon. Collins missed it firing and knocked out of bounds, and it's Duke ball as we wrap this one up. The final 21.5 ticks, and Mike Krzyzewski and the Blue Devils are going to experience a sweep at the hands of Wake Forest. Discouraging for them, but time left. Hill taps it up. How's that for a play? Eric Meek gets the field goal, his first of the game.
The one great thing that Mike does, he doesn't allow losing streaks to happen. He does a great job of adjusting the situations. They will regroup for their next game at home against Virginia, who shot 29% yesterday and got a W. You talk about a job being done. Jeff Jones's team loses Corey Alexander, and if they're right there in a hunt, looks like they'll be a lock for the NCAA tournament. But he doesn't allow losing streaks to happen. He has a way of developing that positive attitude on a consistent basis.
Free throws for the freshman. 14 points for Tim Duncan today. That's 2 straight games this year when he had big days with Cherokee Parks on the floor and Cherokee struggling.
And a quiet 14, but a solid job inside, as you just mentioned, neutralizing and taking Parks away from being a dominator inside. They're going wacky now here. They finally believe. This crowd's been really quiet, Brent, most of the day. I don't think they believe a sweep was going to take place.
Sits down. He played his heart out today. It's over.
Childress throws the ball up in the crowd. Look at Davey Odom. He's got a smile. Come on, Davey, give us a smile.
The sweep here, 78-69. And now we're going to send you to Cincinnati Marquette.